everyone, Albert here, and it's the end of the week. I want to congratulate you. I hope you had a beautifully productive week and that you're ready for the weekend. It's going to be even better. Now, I'm here live for you in Zagreb, but I wanted to continue our conversation that we started some days ago about metaprograms. And if you recall, we talked about VAC plus G plus O, how people are making decisions, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. Now, if you're just joining here right now and you are watching me confused and you're thinking, Albert, what are you talking about? Give me a moment, I will explain, because we're going to discuss this in a few days. But a couple days ago, I actually talked about metaprograms. Basically, how we can use our knowledge of metaprograms to communicate effectively in order to the person that we are speaking with is compelled to take action. And this is something that is used especially in business, in sales, but in psychology as well. It's a little bit of advanced training, so that's why I didn't want to give you all 10 at once. I give you a little preparation video for it. And we're going to be doing a 5-part series where I'm going to be giving 2 each every time, because it may be a little bit overwhelming if I give you all 10 at once. So today we're going to talk about first 2 metaprograms and how to use it in sales and business. Now, just to remind you what metaprograms are. These are like shortcuts in our brain that are controlling everything from how we act, react, interact, how we make decisions, why we make decisions, and everything actually how we perceive our external world, but right here in our brain. It's like a software that runs applications in a computer that is, well, our brain. So when that is now out of the way, just to give you kind of like a visual what that actually is, let's talk about them. Let's find out what are the 2 metaprograms for today. How can we use them in business? And the first metaprogram we're going to discuss is actually a matcher. Now, what that means is a person that you're communicating with is a matcher. That means they are agreeing with you. Now, in sales and business, we love these because normally they are very amenable and they are very susceptible to the ideas and suggestions. I want to give you a caveat. I want to give you a little disclaimer. That is not to say that a person that is a matcher in one situation is going to be a matcher in every single situation, because that means they're a matcher in this particular situation with you, because I can maybe talk about how wonderful is the car, how wonderful is the house, how wonderful is something that you are agreeing with me, but maybe you can go home and you talk to your spouse or your children and you're completely mismatching there. So it's a little bit of opposite. So I'm sorry, there is some calls coming through, but let's disregard them and continue. So matcher is a person that generally agrees with you with everything that is being said, and they see things alike. And if you, for example, say to a matcher in a conversation or a meeting or in a sales meeting, you say, hey, listen, internet marketing is like fishing. And they will actually add on and continue a conversation. Oh yeah, that's correct. It's like, you find the fish, you identify the fish, what type of fish you're fishing, what that fish needs to consume as a bait, what they eat, where to go, and you just go in fishing until you fish that fish. So they can continue that conversation because they see how things are alike. Or you can say these words like, hey, internet marketing is like fishing. You find a fish that you want to fish, you identify what's the bait that you need to use, where that fish is, and then you go and fish it until you fish that fish. And they say, exactly, I can see that to be true in any words that they are actually going to use it, but they see things alike. And that is great. And you need to identify them because you're going to see it as they're agreeing with them. And in fact, salespeople very often are matchers. And I'm sure, if you're in sales or you're a business person, you can attest to that, because we normally are, easy shoppers. I have a lot of shit, pardon my French, that I bought and I don't really use it. I didn't know what I bought it, but I was just agreeing and I said, okay, I'll buy it. All right. But matcher is a person that agrees and see the world and everything as a metaphor that is alike. Hope that makes sense, all right? You're still with me? All right, fantastic. All right, now we have a second one, and this is the second that we're going to discuss today, is the opposite of that, and that is a mismatcher. That is a salesman, a dream, a salesperson, or a business person, because it's a dream in form of a nightmare, because these are the people that are mismatching, and basically they're saying everything that is opposite. And if you say, like, for example, if you tell them, listen, fishing, internet marketing is like fishing. You find a fish, you identify what that fish eats, where it is, and you go there and you fish until you fish, and they say that's nothing like it. So they're going to give you a total polarity response, which means actually they give you an exact opposite. Now, very often, the people that are mismatchers, they do it automatically. They don't even process the information, they just do it as a reflex. And I'm sure if you are honest with yourself, if you think about it, haven't you been in a situation where you were, with your spouse or with your loved one or with your children, and you just said something automatically on a statement of that loved one without even thinking, without even processing? Let's say, your spouse, she would say, oh, wow, he's such a great football player. You say, no, he's not. And you don't actually mean that. You just said it automatically just to give a counter onto it, and you think, wait a minute, that's not really true. He's a great football player. I don't know why I said this, and just move on, or you maybe try to get out of that conversation rather quickly. And that is because in that particular situation, you are a mismatcher, and it often happens just as a reflex. So, as I said, if you are with the mismatcher, and I know it sounds silly, but what you do is a reverse psychology, like with kids, don't eat the broccoli, and then I will eat the broccoli. And as silly as it is, with a mismatcher, you want to actually go in the opposite direction where you would want it to go. As an example, let's say you're doing someone a roof, right? And you see that they will need a window in that roof because it's going to actually elevate the room, it's going to give them more light, it's going to be like having a sun in the room. You're not going to say, hey, you need more light, it's going to elevate the room, and it's going to be like you're going to have sun in your room. You're going to say, no, I don't need it. But what you can say is, you say, hey, listen, we're going to do the roof, and you know what? We can do for you a window. It's going to elevate the room. It's going to give you more sun, but you don't need that, don't you? And they're going to say, yes, I do need that, because they give you the exact opposite. And they're not really conscious to think about it like, what do you mean I don't need? I need that. Now, this can be used in, bad purposes as well, sneaky and subversive, and I know it sounds a little bit hodgepodge, but genuinely speaking, if they give you an immediate mismatch, they're on the same page with you. And then you can present now in a way that they will actually want to listen because you met each other on the same point in that conversation. I hope this makes sense, and I hope you can see how you can use this. And just wanted to give you as a final note, now not everyone is a pure matcher or pure mismatcher. There are sub-modalities. So we have a matcher with a counter example. Basically, they see differences, but what that means, they're going to say, for example, we talk about the fishing and internet marketing, they're going to say, yes, that's exactly like fishing, but not really. Because it's not fishing, right? So they're going to see how things are like first, and then they're going to go to a counter example, all right? And then over here, we have as well with polarity response. Basically the same thing. What they see, pardon my handwriting, I was never going to be a great artist, but you can see at least visual representation of my words. What that means, they're going to mismatch you automatically. They're going to see how things are not alike, but they're going to say, but then, yeah, I know, for example, you can say with, this is nothing like fishing, but it is sales. So they see how things are not alike first, and then they see how things are like, all right? Same thing over here. They're going to see first how things are alike, and they're going to give a counter example on that, all right? So, hope this makes sense. Hope you can actually see how you can use this. So, as a final, actually, I wanted to give you a final exercise. Sometimes people ask me, Albert, how can I practice this? You can actually take 3 coins. This is what I was doing when I was practicing this. I would take 3 coins, and they would be exactly the same coins, and I would actually go to my friends or family members or someone that you are close with and say, listen, I'm learning how the human brain works, and you actually take 3 coins and put 2 of them heads and 1 of them tail, and show them and ask them what's the relationship between the 3 coins, and you're gonna actually see how the brain thinks first. You're gonna see if they say there's no relationship, what are they? They're mismatchers. There's no relationship, but they're all money. A mismatcher with a polarity response. They're going to say, oh, they're all coins, but they're different because there's 2 heads and 1 is tail. Or they can say, those 2 are the same tail, but this one is different. So they see first how things are alike, and then they look for a counterexample, right? There is no relationship, but they're all money. So you can actually go out, even today, take 3 coins and go play around with it, because you're learning how the human brain works, and when you actually do this enough times, it's going to be automatically, you're going to be noticing those patterns, and then when I actually teach you all other 8 that is going to be complementary to it, you're going to be able to communicate so effectively that you will not even know what happened to you. It's going to be a renaissance. Anyway, I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments what do you think about it. Let me know when you try it, what was the response. And I'm going to be back. We're teaching another 4 series. I'm going to be teaching 2 each time so we can complete all 10 metaprograms to unlock anyone buying and decision-making strategy. Hope you liked it. As always, I'm going to say stay great, and I'll see you out and about.